Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services. This is a video on daily news and editorial analysis, which I'll be covering from the Hindu and Indian Express, the important news and editorial that would be relevant for the preparation of civil services examination will be discussed in this session. Let's get started with the news topic list. Today is 17th of May. The first important news, that is the first indigenous vaccines against the dengue fever. This is something which has been done in the collaboration with the ICMR. And third trial result is successful. Consequent to that, further approval is required. Now, Center to finalize telecom bill by July. This is what the Union Minister has stated. Third, Prime Minister to attend G7 Leader Summit. Again, something very important in context of the bilateral relationship that is ongoing between the G7 members, specifically the United States. Now, the second last, changes in the recruitment system ended the corruption and nepotism. This is what the Prime Minister has cited during the inaugural launch. And the last is an editorial, Rajasthan move to spell hope for the gig worker. There have been a lot debate when it comes to gig worker and the platform worker and providing social security to them under the Code of Social Security, which has been recently incorporated by the Union government in 2019. And further approval is there from all the state governments. Some state has already been implementing, right? So these are the part of the discussion on today's news, daily news and editorial analysis. Apart from that, there will be MCQ based questions. These questions will be based on current affairs that will help you for the upcoming prelims examination. So without any further ado, let's get started. And if you're new to our channel, do not forget to subscribe Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services on YouTube. If you like this video, if you find this video content helpful for examination purposes, do press a like button. And if you're looking forward for integrated test series, we have come up with the integrated test series with 30 prelims plus 8 mains tests are there. This will be followed by the features like free mentorship, free Eyes Get It magazine, flexible date and schedule, and the entire PYQs, current affairs and CTAL full-length tests are provided. For more details, do refer to the description section of this video where I provided a dedicated link to register for this particular test series and even get further details for it. So do check it out. Now starting with the first news, that is the first indigenous vaccines against that dengue vaccine soon. Something important for General Studies paper 2 under the General Studies, that is issues related to development and management of health. So on the occasion of National Dengue Day, ICMR, that is Indian Council for Medical Research, the experts are moving closer towards getting the first indigenous vaccine against the dengue fever. And the experts have said that this will intensify India's effort towards the mosquito-borne diseases, and even for examination purpose, there can be a direct simple biology question about how dengue fever actually impact the normal functioning of a human body. Now, ICMR has found that the Drug Controller General of India, that is DCGI, the apex nodal body controlling the entire part of the drugs regulation in the country, will give the approval for phase 3 trial on the dengue vaccine. This approval was already made in year 2022. Subsequent to that, there have been further progress when it comes to part 3 trial, and the expert from the ICMR are also looking forward some advanced version of the trial with adult people involving in the trials. Now, dengue cases in India की अगर बात करें, India has been witnessing the cases of dengue over the past decade, and even Lancet, which is a reputed journal across the globe, it has come across with the data that almost close to 1.1 lakh dengue cases were there in India between January to October 2022. And according to ICMR, dengue viral disease caused significant morbidity and mortality in terms of globe, and even for India, like 2.5 lakh cases were reported annually. The global incidence of dengue has grown dramatically, with about half of the world population now at risk. Now, challenges की अगर बात करें, definitely this is a challenge for India where the number and the cases are on a surge. The expert are of the opinion that challenges when it comes to developing the vaccine is there. Although India is a country which produced almost 60% of the global vaccine, India is a vaccine manufacturing hub. And this is a well-established fact, but to a larger extent, when it comes to diseases like dengue, we do not have such concrete virus because there are stereotype variants which is available, which make it difficult for the expert to come up with a one specific kind of a part of, like, that is called the vaccine. Now the virus evolved faster during the intense transmissions. New variant can even emerge and that lead to massive outbreak and even causing increase in the disease severity. Now, with whole efforts, basically India is looking forward with the dengue vaccine. The development, the treatment part is largely neglected, mainly due to inadequate funding. See, for anything, I mean, when it comes to government and producing any vaccine, a lot of funding is involved. So funding has become a constraint that is affecting the low and middle income countries although. Now, phase 3 trials की अगर बात करें, it has been a progressive move from the ICMR, right? And even for the part that against the Serum Institute of India and the Panacea Biotech have submitted their response to the Indian Council for Medical Research on their collaborations of the phase 3 clinical trial. The phase 3 is being done on evaluation of the efficacy along the safety with immunogenicity to the part of the dengue vaccine to developed for the Indian manufacturers. Now, trial could close to August for the August vaccine. Moving to the second news, that is Center to finalize telecom bill by July. Something important for general studies paper 2, that is the government policies and intervention for the development of various sectors and issues arising from it, design and implementations. So the telecom sector in India is poised to have a significant advancement when it comes to the part of expecting and finalizing the Indian telecommunications bill. As per the latest update, the Union Telecom Minister, the government is on a track to finalize this bill by July this year, following the subsequent progress and development that is taking place with all stakeholders, experts' opinion. The government has held extensive consultation with a wide range of stakeholders. See, for any bill that is passed, the consultation from the expert and the stakeholder is mandatorily required. Even a white paper is at least where the opinion of the individual is also sought. Now, the minister has expressed the government commitment to simplify the regulation when it comes to telecom industry. And just to tell you, telecom industry in the past decade has, even it's a sector which has boomed, even to a larger extent after the launch of 5G and even subsequent the 6G, which will be launched in India very soon in a coming couple of years. The sector has a potential to grow. So you can expect a direct question in the mains examination stating the details about the telecom industries and how this industry can contribute in the GDP of this country and substantially even augmenting the part of the telecom sectors and even the communications part, right? So the telecom industry in India is currently on the healthy trajectory and exhibiting encouraging sign of the growth. And this is inevitable that if these things are working out, the progress is, something that will be on a larger extent. Now, aim of this bill, the bill aimed to establish a global benchmark for focusing on and fostering the part of the innovations. It seeks to address the increasing menace of fraudulent that is taking place and even the fraudulent part that is generated overseas that will have a significant impact. Now, in this context, Government of India has asked WhatsApp to block certain number with the fraudulent activities. I'll discuss that in a while. Just let me discuss and complete this. Now, moreover, it is anticipated that the surge in the investment for the telecom sectors and over 2 to 3 years, it is estimated that 2 lakh crore rupees is expected to be invested in telecom and the potential is even higher than 3 lakh crore rupees, right? Numbers are not important, but you should know this figure to understand and even predict the growth of the sector. The investment signifies the confidence place. Even the industrial growth and potential is anticipated to roll out the further expansion. Now, deregistration of mobile number, this is what I was talking about. Even the draft bill has a provision where the WhatsApp has agreed that they will deregister the number from their platform which is found to be fraudulent. तो कोई भी ऐसी fraudulent activity अगर WhatsApp use करके की जाती है तो WhatsApp उस number को blacklist कर देगी and even the individual will not be able to use that specific number in WhatsApp. That will be completely banned. This is something that the Government of India has come up with this particular telecom bill that will be launching very soon. Now, moving to the other news, Prime Minister to attend G7 Leader Summit, something important for General Studies Paper 2 in the mains, that is bilateral, regional grouping and agreement involving India and affecting India's interest. Prime Minister on a visit to Hiroshima for the G7 Leaders Summit. This is the first visit to the Japanese cities by any Indian Prime Minister since 1974 Pokhran. And Pokhran in this context is important because India has not signed NPT. अगर non-proliferation treaty की बात करें, India is not a member. India has been advocating since its inception on the part of the Pokhran that will use nuclear energy for research and other activities and not for any part of war and part. But again, Japan, who has been victim of atomic bomb and other wars, they are neither on the part that this should be completely banned and NPT should be signed from India. So that is a conflict of interest coming out from both countries. But although in a country where India is definitely playing a major role, so these things will be manageable. So the last Indian Prime Minister to visit Hiroshima was Jawaharlal Nehru in 1957, way back. Now, the Prime Minister present in Hiroshima is significant since India is one of the countries which has not signed the Nuclear Proliferation Treaty. I think most of you must be aware of the NPT. If not, do check it out, search, Google it, and get the further details that will help you for the mains fodder point. Now, what is the Japan perspective in this context? So it is important since the current Japanese Prime Minister, whose birthplace is Hiroshima, actually, right? He hails from Hiroshima, and constituency of him is also the central Hiroshima. So some part of a emotion is already intact with him. The sources said that India side is cognizant in the sensitive matters with the people of Hiroshima, particularly when it comes to nuclear test, which India did, and even India not being the part of NPT as a signatory to it. Now, the Japan is a city which has arranged the meeting for G7 leaders that will invite the families for atomic bomb victims also. So there can be a direct question in many other government examination about the venue where the G7 meeting has held. The correct answer would be Japan. Now, what is India's stand? अगर इंडिया के स्टैंड की बात करें, India is definitely preparing for the part of the views on NPT, but India has made it clear that we'll use it peacefully and only for research and other defense purposes, not be using for any opponent country, and there will be no hostility in terms of using them. So India has projected that this should be on track, responsible for nuclear power, and even the part of recently they have expressed the concern about the nuclear war rhetoric that is Russia's leader in context of the Ukraine war. Now, moving to the other news, changes in the recruitment system that has ended the corruption and nepotism. Something important for general studies paper 2, that is important aspect of governance, transparency, accountability, and e-governance. Recently, the Prime Minister has asserted the change that was brought by the government in the recruitment system, and the Prime Minister has categorically said that these have reduced and completely vanished the part of corruption and nepotism that is there in the recruitment process. Why? Because there is an online process that is ongoing. I'll discuss that in a while. But before that, the Prime Minister has distributed appointment letter to over 71,000 people in the Rojgar Mela. And these appointments were done from SSC, even from UPSC and various other state services and central services that is taken care. Now, as we know, most of the examination that is operating in India is on a online recruitment process. So this make less prone to part of the fraud that is there. So Prime Minister has categorically noted that applying for the government job require the online process where the result, even the starting from the advertisement, form filling, the part of the examination, the result, the entire process has been made online, which even reduce the part of the corruption. The possibility of corruption and nepotism in the recruitment job has completely ended. This is what the Prime Minister has highlighted. Now, what is the next course of action? Prime Minister in a meeting with the CEOs for the companies like Walmart, Apple, Foxconn. Foxconn is a company which is the largest manufacturers of the mobile, in the China. So even if you buy a phone from Apple that is being manufactured, the entire unit is from the Foxconn. So Sescon alert, they have been presented that the part of the industries and investment should be there in the country, and even the skilled people which are trained in different universities should be the part of the manufacturing, right? The Prime Minister cited that EPFO, that is Employment Provident Fund Organization, has a net payroll for about 4.5 crore people since 2018-19 for the formal employment. And the country has seen a revolution in the startup. India is a country which has seen a surge in the development of the startup, coming out with the further entrepreneurship skill generating in different domain and different sectors. Now, moving to the editorial of the day, that is Rajasthan moves spell hope for the gig worker, something important for general studies paper 2, that is the government policies and intervention for the development of various sectors and issues arising from a design and implementations. So what I'll be discussing under this editorial, Rajasthan platform-based gig worker social security and welfare fund. First, we'll see the aim, significance, many states are yet to act, challenges, and the conclusion part. So earlier this year, the Chief Minister of Rajasthan, or you can say the government of Rajasthan, have actually passed the state first welfare fund that is allocated to the platform and gig worker and the platform worker. This is for the first real instances that a regulatory measures has come, and even the vulnerability that was there with the social security code that was passed in 2020. So this provide a legal backing to all the gig and platform worker. Now, come amid COVID-19 pandemic, when the platform worker has become backbone of the metropolitan logistics, these customers are working for the state government for the relief and other part. Now, the aim that the Rajasthan-based gig worker board has aims to deliver the security between the 3 to 4 lakh worker of the states, and the social security give the labor ministers an even mandate for having a narrow boutique of the program with the provident fund, employment injury benefits, housing, educational scheme, ये सारी benefits उनको दी जाती हैं, scaling and upgrading and funeral assistance also. The key protection schemes such as life and disability, health, maternity, old age protections, education will only be started and funded by the central government. Significance की अगर बात करें, Rajasthan based platform gig worker board has come up with the institutions that can step up with the need of technology mediated workforce, and the board of tri-partier institutions will represent bureaucracy. One, second is the employee and client and worker, and another is union and association. So these three will come together and amalgamate for the improvement of the life of the people who are actually involved in the gig workers. The relationship is meant to ensure the quick communications movement between the worker and get their dues, enabling for the better communications and the between the parties. Now, many states are yet to act on this. So in 2023, many state government has to pass this rule, and even some state have passed it. They have raised the concern of how fast the gig and platform worker can gain and become the scenario. Rajasthan stand to be the first in this part of the implementations which has come up, and even the state assembly has passed this fund which will help for the betterment of the gig and platform workers. Now, what are the challenges? Definitely for the implementation, there will be challenges. The criticism against the construction of board is there, and even not benefit useful offset of the time, money, resources. This is what the concern has been, and there have been significant challenges on the collectivism attempt. It aims to underclear the part of Rajasthan and even any other board that will able to form the gap in the labor right platform and gig worker. So this is how the things will be working out. Now, conclusion की अगर बात करें, the code on security does not consider how to handle the labor rights platform and gig workers, and rather it only gives the protections from the vulnerable aspect. Nonetheless, the initiations of the board in the big win platform worker whose union has been fighting for the issues to be heard. Grievance redressal is an important aspect here. And the initiation of board will be something winning the platform workers. There are many challenges ahead covering such gaps in the labor right. So labor issue is again something important in general studies paper 2. You can expect a direct question, and if not in general studies paper 4, specifically in the case studies, there can be a direct question stating about the details for the gig workers or the platform workers. Now, moving ahead with the MCQ questions of the day. Before I proceed, just to tell you the answers of yesterday questions. For first question, the correct option, just to rewind it back. For the first question, the correct option is A. For second question, the correct option is C. Now, with the MCQ question of the day, that is the mental health assistance networking across the states. The objective is to provide free telemedicine health services across the country, particularly catering the part of remote and underserved area. It is an initiative for the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Pause this video, read out the statement one by one, then proceed for the correct option. Now, the second question, that is the positive Indianization list. It is something the Indian Armed Forces will procure only from the domestic manufacturers. The manufacturers set sell to the Defense Public Sector Undertaking, that is DPSU, and not to the private sector. Definitely, you have to check for the option. I have already made a discussion on this regard. If you have been following my news analysis part, you will be easily able to answer that. So this was all about for the daily news and editorial analysis, followed by the MCQ questions. If you have any other concern, you can reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to assist you. For time being, I'm signing off. Thank you so much for watching this video.